and on Facebook and checking in with me. It's always good to see you guys, or your comments, and thanks for all the positive remarks so far. That's great. And hi guys to those of you if you're watching this back. I'm trying to do these like every day leading up to either the coaching training or other things that I'm doing, and I'm here to also be helpful and give you some tips and tricks for practice, because that's what I'm all about. I'm a coach, a counsellor, a therapist, and a trainer. And I guess there's been a few people who say to me, and my student who's working with me at the moment, her name's Annalise. Hi, Annalise, if you're watching this back. She's been talking to me about, Renee, you make everything a teachable moment. And I think that's pretty much how things are in my life these days. So it's, what's the teachable moment for you, even just watching and listening to this back of me. And if you want to do lives like this, or if you want to kind of push your business out, what are you going to do? Are you going to do blogging, networking, lives like this? Are you going to get on the phone? Do you have contacts in industry? You got to think about, are you starting from scratch in private practice if you're doing that, or are you starting with some knowledge of industry? So everybody's situation and circumstance is different. So it really depends on what you've been exposed to in business or practice or the community sector in general, if you're coming from the community sector, or if you've been in corporate before, you might have had another career before. I've certainly been talking to my student at the moment about that kind of stuff. So for her, she's coming from, a dance teaching background, and this is a really good example. And I was talking about this even on my Instagram profile, and did a little bit of tapping over there, tap dancing, the tap dancing therapist. Anyway, many moons ago, I used to teach dancing, and I'm a bit rusty, but that's okay. So I guess, how can we use something from our past as analogies for the kind of way that we work, or how can that maybe assist you in how you might be able to market your practice? So I was using the dance analogy. So what if we need now new moves? Now that the world has moved in a different way, maybe we need new moves in order to kind of adjust our business and practice to another route or way. And that's what I'm regularly doing. And a lot of people are saying, well, Renee, how do you keep adjusting to the changes and, all these shocking things happening, and how do you keep going? There's a lot of people who ask me that. And Renee, are you still offering online therapy training? Yes. Mostly people are just picking up the pre-recorded courses. That's just what most people are doing these days. And most people are wanting to come to me for marketing or coaching or supervision or therapy. Hi to those people who are checking in. I guess I'm just, having a chat about what kind of my frequently asked questions are. And so it's, why, Renee, are you able to adjust to these days and times in practice? And I guess I was using a dance analogy because I used to be a dance teacher. And if we use these kind of analogies, it might even help you guys listening in or our clients. What kind of analogies can you use in order to help people kind of get their mind around something that might be different, or to help them transition? So that's kind of often what I do, not just symbolically, but metaphorically, and in an embodiment, and what we call that kind of visceral style learning. This kind of learning that we have that's generative. So the generative learning style is then when we're actually doing it. So we actually are physically and kinesthetically doing that learning. So for me, that's something really to think about. What are you learning from your life that you can bring into your practice? And even if you're a client watching this back, it's what do you need help with to learn new skills? And if there are new skills that you need to learn, what is something different that you need to know that you might not know yet? And what do you feel like you still need to know? What's the teachable moment that you need from someone else? Is it a therapist? Is it a coach? Is it a supervisor? Is it a trainer? Is it new learning? I was talking to a colleague today, and she was saying she might study some counselling now because she's a nutritionist at Allied Health, and she was saying to me, should I study counselling or not? And I said, well, counselling skills are helpful almost for anyone. So I'd be recommending anyone at the moment, if you want to learn anything, counselling skills are good skills to have, whether you end up practicing or not. A lot of people say, is it going to be wasted? I don't think anything is ever wasted unless we see it that way. And that's, again, maybe another teachable moment. So then how are you going to shift and change those ways that you've been from your past to something new now, and for it to not feel so jarring? So the whole thing about this whole last couple of years is we haven't really moved and flown and gone with the tide so much. It's been a bit more like crashing tidal waves rather than and so crashing tidal waves, crashing tidal waves. If we really think about it from a metaphorical and actual and literal sense. So that generative learning is like, do we need this kind of jarring and crashing? And so instead, how can we be going with some kind of flow? What is your flow that you want to find again? This is literally in the generative context, and so that's something to maybe to even think about. I draw from my dance and ice skating training that I'm imagining flow. If you might be, some people who I talk to might have done a lot of rowing or biking, or some people might have done bushwalking or skydiving or surfing or something like that. It's where do you find that flow and draw on that, to feel good about being in the world, doing what you need to do. So these are maybe some things to think about. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for those of you who are kind of watching this back, and I look forward to chatting to you again tomorrow. And so you might want to watch this back if you haven't watched so far. And I guess I'm talking about teachable moments and what that might be for you. So just maybe having a think about that. I'm all about being a reflective person in the world, being a reflective practitioner, a reflective therapist, and a reflective coach. How can we do things better? What do we need to do now? So that's we all make mistakes, and then what can we learn from that, and how can we draw from that and move to the next stage? So all the best, guys, and I do hope and I wish you the best day, and good night if you're on Sydney or Melbourne time. Thanks, guys. Bye.